Good morning. I'm State Representative Charlie Meyer, and I represent the 109th District, which includes parts of all of Washington, Clinton, St. Clair, Madison, and Bond counties. We are here today alongside Illinoisans from across the state to stand up for our Second Amendment rights that are under attack by the Illinois Democrats. Where I come from, defending the Second Amendment is not just about talking points, it's about protecting our way of life. In Springfield, we are seeing that there are no lengths that the majority party will not go to strip away our rights until they come after every one of our single guns. In 2023, we saw the passing of the unconstitutional so-called assault weapons ban. Since even before this bill was passed, I was saying that this violates the Constitution, and now the state of Illinois is spending your tax dollars to defend the unconstitutional overreach in the courts, while other essential state agencies remain underfunded. The Democrats said they would only affect a small portion of our guns, and they wouldn't come for handguns, but they didn't stop there. House Bill 4045 was filed in the General Assembly, and it seeks to outlaw the sale of Glock pistols and any other handgun that would potentially be converted into full auto, which, by the way, is already illegal. Let's be crystal clear. These bills do not target criminals. They target law-abiding gun owners and hunters across the state of Illinois. The FOID card system is broken. Red tape makes it increasingly difficult for citizens to exercise their constitutional rights. Instead of fixing the broken system, the Democrats expand it and create more barriers for responsible gun owners while doing nothing to address violent crime in Chicago and across our state. While Democrats push stricter laws on law-abiding citizens, they also support abolishing cash bail and push soft on-crime policies that put repeat offenders back on our streets, endangering our families. Illinois Democrats are soft on crime, but tough on gun owners. Whether you live in Chicago or Southern Illinois, you should have a constitutional right to bear arms. House Republicans are proud to stand with the advocates at the Capitol today to stand up for our freedom. I would now like to introduce my colleague from Decatur, Representative Regan Deering.
Hello, I'm State Representative Regan Deering of Decatur, and I represent Central Illinois' 88th House District, covering all or parts of DeWitt, Livingston, Macon, McLean, and Piatt counties. Today, we are here standing up for freedom. We're standing alongside the people that have come to the Capitol in support of their Second Amendment rights. Here in Illinois, lawmakers are notorious for overreaching and installing frivolous mandates on law-abiding citizens. I was here just 2 short months ago advocating against unnecessary and burdensome mandates on homeschooling. And yet again, I am joined by colleagues to speak out against more harmful legislation introduced by the majority party that seeks to infringe on our rights. By continuing to come after our constitutional rights, we are trekking down a treacherous path. The Democrats know this and yet still continue to introduce legislation that deteriorates the remaining trust in our government and infringes on our rights, and that is wrong. These anti-Second Amendment policies were introduced under the guise of safety, but make no mistake, they're really about controlling more and more of our lives. House Republicans will not stop defending your Second Amendment rights. The Democrats in Springfield are known for using shady tactics that subvert the legislative rules to get what they want. We're seeing this in real time on a daily basis on issues that are too important to sweep under the rug. Quick fixes are passed through the chamber, and then years of undoing legislative harmful legislation ensues when the legislature had easily had the opportunity to come together to work on the problem and pass one single measure. It's an honor to stand with the House Republicans and the advocates who traveled to the Capitol from every corner of the state to show the majority party that no matter how many bad bills they introduce or pass to infringe on our way of life, we will not stop fighting for our constitutional rights. To the advocates here today, I want you to know House Republicans see you, support you, and will tirelessly defend your constitutional rights. I'd now like to introduce my colleague, Representative Patrick Windhorst.
Thank you. I'm State Representative Patrick Windhorst from the 117th District. I currently serve as a House Republican floor leader and am the minority spokesperson for the Criminal Law Judiciary Committee and the Gun Violence Prevention Committee. Since I first took office in 2019, I've worked diligently alongside my fellow Republicans in the House to protect Second Amendment rights for law-abiding citizens. The people I represent take their responsibility to care for, store, and use their firearms very seriously. Sadly, that fact is often ignored as a supermajority in both chambers of this General Assembly have time and again passed legislation that erodes the constitutional right to bear arms. I'd like to be more specific in my criticisms of these policies by providing a few more of the most egregious examples of Democrats working to limit the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. First, Illinois' FOID card system imposes a state-level barrier to firearm ownership, which turns what would be a federally guaranteed constitutional right into merely a privilege paid for by gun owners and regulated by our state. In previous General Assemblies, I have sponsored legislation that would eliminate the FOID card and restore gun ownership as a guaranteed right under the Constitution. Second, Illinois' ban on semi-automatic weapons outlawed the use and possession of multiple weapons that are in common use by law-abiding citizens. The Supreme Court's 2008 Heller decision held weapons in common use are protected by the Second Amendment. This law hurts the ability of law-abiding citizens to protect themselves. Third, I believe that Illinois' law runs afoul of the U.S. Supreme Court Bruin decision from 2022, which held that gun regulations must align with the country's historical tradition of firearm regulation. Illinois' laws, such as the ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, likely fail this test. Fourth, and finally, I am concerned that despite many early federal rulings and injunctions against several Illinois gun laws, members from the Democratic side of the aisle continue to push further restrictions on gun ownership. These restrictions hurt only our law-abiding citizens. For example, Senate Bill 8, which was heard on a subject matter hearing last week in the Gun Violence Prevention Committee, is an unworkable law that lays out large fines for law-abiding gun owners who are found to have violated the statute's safe storage provisions. SB 8 is problematic in many ways. The legislation creates civil penalties up to $10,000 in some instances and ultimately allows for the denial or revocation of a FOID card if a person fails 2 or more times to report a loss or theft of a firearm within 48 hours of the discovery of that loss or theft. Laws that go beyond the federal firearm restrictions make for a confusing patchwork of laws that stand in direct conflict with the U.S. Constitution. And we are here today to defend Illinois citizens' rights to lawfully abide by the Second Amendment and to defend the right to bear arms.